I, 18F, and my twin brother, 18M, went trick-or-treating with two of our closest friends. Let's call them Sam and Brenda. We went over to Sam's house. He lived in the nicest neighborhood, but had a really crappy set of woods a mile away. Missing bodies have been found there, and there's always strange grunting noises loud enough to hear from this house. We set off to go trick-or-treating around 10 p.m. The night started off as normal. Kids in costumes were everywhere. Bowls of candy were set on the porches. We got through all of the houses and we were on our way back to Sam's around midnight. For some ungodly reason, we decided to go to the woods to try and see where the noises were coming from. The further we got, the darker the night seemed. As the streetlights faded and the silence set in, you couldn't even see your own 2 feet as you were walking. We've seen the edge of the woods, and since we had all been drinking a little bit, we went for it. I'm not sure what time it was, but we got to the thick point in the woods, branching, scaping your limbs from all sides. It was quiet, besides our rustling through the bushes. A grunt stopped all of us dead in our tracks. It's like you could feel the steamy breath from my giant on you. We didn't move. Whatever grunted at us was circling us, and there was more than one. I thought for sure we were all going to die that night. Unfortunately, that's not entirely wrong. I was holding Brenda's arm so that we didn't get separated. All of a sudden, she let go and heard a scream like I never want to hear again. Whatever got Brenda was tearing her apart. The screaming stopped, and the sound of her blood sloshing and flesh being torn was enough for all of us to dead sprint to what we thought was the way out. Sam, my twin, and I were able to get away from whatever took Brenda. We lost track of time and had no idea where the hell we were. Sam suggested that we climb a tree and just wait until sunrise to find our way out. At this point, what else could we do? We found a somewhat bigger tree and started to climb one by one. Sam went first, then myself. My twin was about to start climbing when we heard the grunt again. We heard him scream and get dragged away by what I assume was the same thing that got Brenda. Sam was covering his mouth, hugging me so tight that the tree so I didn't scream and draw attention to us. Some time passed and we started to see the sun come up over the tree line. We waited until we could see what was around us. We climbed down from the tree, stepping in my twin's blood as we walked the opposite direction. The thought of leaving him was gut-wrenching, but we knew there was no way we could find him without realizing whatever took him. We walked for what seemed like hours until I heard another grunt. I felt its hot, sticky breath on my back. I froze. Sam squeezing my hand so tight I thought my fingers were going to fall off. We couldn't see what it was as the brush was so thick. Once again, I heard an awful scream and Sam was gone. I took my chance and bolted, praying I would find my way out. I felt like I was running in circles, not knowing where I was going. It started to get dark again. I didn't want to take my chances with whatever took my best friends. I climbed another tree just as the sun went down. I started to doze off when I heard it again. The grunting. I was so high I couldn't feel it, but whatever it was right underneath me. What sounded like two more joined it, circling the tree. At this point, I'm not going to make it out here alive. The grunting stopped a little bit ago. I'm taking this time to write this while I'm still here. If you're seeing this, please send help. I don't usually go camping by myself, but my friends were all working and I had the day off, so I decided to go to a new camping spot. It wasn't a big spot. It was in the middle of nowhere and had a spot for campfire, which was weird because it wasn't a place where you could rent a place out or anything like that. It was a random open spot, but I didn't think anything about it. I got out of my truck, and as I was setting up the tent, I found scratch marks on a tree and animal bones when I thought it was just another teenage prank. I finished and lit the fire to cook. I cooked some soup before I decided to settle in for the night. I was half asleep when I woke up to a shadow figure walking around the tent. I grabbed my knife and pepper spray and prayed for the best. A few minutes later, I heard a wild sound like a scream of a human or a mountain lion. But the figure was definitely human, as I heard it scream too. It was steep, scratchy, not really human-like, but I could make out a human shape from the figure. As I tried to sleep, I heard munching, like that of a dog that was eating something, not kibble, just a slab of chop, like meat. It finally stopped, and I was able to fall asleep. When I woke up and went outside to pack up, I saw a half-eaten deer, but it wasn't a bear. The head of the deer was cut off and propped on a log. The intestines of the deer were eaten, and the leg was cut off, and by the head. I wanted to stay until Monday. Speaking of, it was Saturday day, but this was just too unsettling. I packed up, and before I left, I looked at the animal bones again to realize that some of them were human. I jumped in my truck, and when I drove off, I saw a shadowy figure in the rearview mirror.